What's up, guys? Demondre Douglas here. Today we have a first look and kind of an overview of the Samsung Galaxy A42 5G. The cool thing about this phone is it has an AMOLED screen and a Snapdragon processor. I have never used or held this phone outside of this plastic, so what I will say is I did install Geekbench and Antutu, but I have never took the phone out of the plastic. Therefore, it is quote unquote brand new. Shout out to my wife for sending me quite a few phones from her travels, actually. Very relaxing to hear that sound. It feels good. Let's wipe it off real quick. Okay, so in my opinion, outside of an actual premium phone like metal and glass a la iPhone or a lot of your S series phones, Samsung makes the best feeling phones when it comes to the plastic. The AMOLED screen is awesome. It looks great. When I say this, do not leave. It is only 720p. Yes, you heard me correctly. It is only 720p, and I don't know why they decided to do that. However, what I do know is that doesn't take away from my experience whatsoever. And if you want, you can go to display, and along with your eye comfort shield, which reminds me of the True Tone for the iPhone, you can change the size of the font. And I believe you can change the display size as well. And what that will do is making everything smaller will make it look crisper on a 720p screen, because you're getting a good nice 6.6 inches here. So this is it compared to the Moto G Stylus 2022. As you can see, this is 6.8, this is 6.6. There is a difference, however, it's negligible. And also looking at the bezels, they're pretty minimum, especially if you compare it to something like, say, well, this isn't a good comparison, but the bezels are pretty good. The screen is very bright. The sound is very loud. It's actually louder than the Moto G. I actually did an audio test with a decibel meter. The cameras are very good. The main camera definitely so better than the wide angle camera. And let's see if we can get a shot here. And there are words, so we're going to target those words. So, look at that clarity. As you can see here, you're getting a very good main camera. If you're into social media, you're going to love that camera. However, the story changes with the ultra wide. You need a lot of light to make the ultra wide work, which is disappointing for anyone who wants to shoot video in the ultra wide mode, because you're just going to need a lot of light to make it work. So if you're in broad daylight or a well lit indoor area, it's going to do well. Look at that. Also, the ability to switch lenses on the fly is flagship-esque. So that's very good. Not quite as smooth as iOS, but when it comes to Android, it's up there with, I would say, like the 11T. Definitely not pixel status, as far as mid-rangers go, this thing is a beast. Oh, let's go look at the Geekbench score. So I updated this to the latest version of Android, which was awesome. I believe it came with like 10 originally when I cut this on. Keep in mind, these are brand new phones, mid-range, and flagships from 2019 and 2020. Some of whom were never activated, touched, unwrapped, etc. So as you can see here, A42 5G, model number. Let's go to software information. And as you can see here, we're running Android 12 with One UI 4.1. They do have Android 13 with One UI 5.1 coming out. I do not know if this phone will receive that upgrade. I will look into it. If you know already, in the comments below, let us know. So anyway, back to the Geekbench. And the Geekbench score was admirable for an Android, period. We got a score of 619 for the single core and 1930 for the multi-core, which is very good. I ran the same test on the A12 and it was like in the 300s. Nothing wrong with the A12. Shout out to the A12. As a reference point, which I like the Moto G, but the more I use these other phones, the more issues I find. Android 12 on Motorola is buggy. I hate to say that because I want to love the phone. However, my experience has been so-so. Anywho, that's a separate video. I just want to use reference. This is a Snapdragon 695G, if I'm not mistaken. Pretty much, this is a 2022 phone, so this is one of the latest mid-range processors that you can get. Pretty much the 2021-22 equivalent of the 2019-2020 phone. Chipset, man, that display is nice. So as you can see here as a reference, look, the Samsung actually beat out the G Stylus 5G, which again makes me sad. This has 6 gigs of RAM, which we can see here. 5.35 used, 6 gigs stated on the specs. And this has 4 gigs of RAM. So where they do that? Like, how is it possible that a year or two old processor is beating out the latest processor with more RAM? So the viewing angles, definitely not as good as 1080p. However, as you can see here, pretty good. If you have the phone laying on the bed and you're looking at the corner of your eye, you can see it. And you can pixel peeping, it's hard to see a problem. And a lot of people say, oh, 720p. The iPhone 11s and 8s and SEs that a lot of people still rock are running 720. This is a 1080p screen. So original screen size, original font. We're in the same app. And I don't know, you guys tell me below. I will say it looks a little bit sharper. However, the colors really punch on the AMOLED, period. So, anyway, let's go take a look at the Antutu, because if you're going to get this phone, the main things you're concerned about, look and feel, which it looks and feels great. It has that iconic Samsung look. It's modern. Bezels are pretty good. I'd say a B. Teardrop, not the biggest fan. But it does have a headphone jack, which is awesome in 2022. and it does have a micro SD card slot. So right here on the left hand side of the phone, I don't know if you guys can see that. Oh, there we go. Awesome. That is awesome. So, fun fact, I actually wanted to shoot this video with the Moto G. However, the TCL 10 Pro just has a better camera. So we're going to talk about that phone as well. A lot of you probably never even heard of the 10 Pro, and you're just starting to hear about TCL, so that'll be fun to get into. Anywho, the results. Well, first let me read which test is what. The first test is the wildlife test, and it's pretty much running a graphics test at 1440p. The next test we're going to run is Slingshot Extreme. This is a benchmark test for a demanding test for smartphones and tablets. So for you guys, of course, we already ran it. And again, the first thing I did was update the phone and install the benchmarking apps. So these benchmarks should represent the best you could achieve with your phone. Keep in mind, all specifications are approximate. Numbers might be off for two or not, one or two. Don't expect to have the exact same score, but it should be relative. So we're going to start off with Slingshot Extreme, 2,765, a graphics score of 2639. Physics, it did very well with the physics, 3322. In short, this thing could game. You should be able to play any game at medium settings with this processor and this power. Again, in reference, I will show you the score achieved on the G Stylus 2022, which was, we're in Slingshot, 29,036. Again, this phone came out, I believe, in either 2020 or 2021. And this phone came out 2021, 2022. It is they both have mid-range processors in them, the Snapdragon 600 series. However, this is a newer processor with 6 gigs of RAM. This phone retailed at $499. You can now get it for $300 as of November 2022. This phone you can find for like $150 to $100. So you could save yourself $100 and get, in a lot of cases, better quality than a phone from today. Also, this stands to reason how good Samsung is. This phone is louder, it is brighter, it is Super AMOLED. The cameras are comparable. Let's turn this around. So there we have it, front-facing cameras on each phone. See if we can get out of this. There we go. And let's see which one looks clear. So yeah, definitely looks better on the Samsung. 20 megapixel camera right here. Let's turn off this flash. Dual LED flash on the TCL. Yeah, the 20 megapixels. Online, some of the reviews I've seen, some of the other techs show, it looked a little soft on the front-facing camera. However, in person, it looks pretty sharp. It looks pretty good. And again, this is not And again, this is not meant to be a comparison video. However, it's kind of hard to show you the quality or the value of something without putting it up against something. So as you can see here, same picture, the Samsung just looks better. The colors look better. The detail in my beard is there. The G Stylus doesn't look bad at all, but as you can see, when I zoom in, it starts to look like a water palette or something, or a color painting. So, very impressed with this. Very super impressed with the standby time. I charged this thing up to 100%. Was going to do a video that night. It is 2 days later, and I went to go grab it to put it on the charger, and in 2 days, the battery percentage had only dropped 2%. That is awesome standby time. So if you're not using this phone, the battery is like definitely going to last you, which is good because there are phones that just drain just because. Anything else important to note? Any of your regular apps ran super fast. Everything was super speedy. I'm gonna do a gaming test, but that's an unwrapping unboxing. That's what it's gonna be like when you guys buy this phone and you take it out of the plastic. You're gonna be pleased. The eye candy is definitely there. This 3-tone shimmering back, it looks beautiful. Probably gonna give this phone away for the 10,000 viewer. Don't quote me yet. However, whoever it is, I'm gonna buy the case. I'll buy a clear case to go with this because it looks that good. 99% of the cases I buy are black. However, when a phone looks really good to me, I will buy a clear case just to be able to see it. It is plastic. This is Fox glass or metal. It looks the part. However, when you pick it up, you can definitely feel the difference. This thing is way heavier. I think it's I want to say it's a 4,500 milliamp battery in the A42. I'll get the specs later, but this is 5,000 milliamp battery, and this guy is chunky. As you can see right there, the A42 is quite thin. I guess compared to most Motorola phones, the A42 is going to be quite thin. Alright, next video, Motorola One. Not the Ace, the One. Their mid-range killer, allegedly, from 2020. Alright guys, thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, if you like it, if you want to see more, hit that like button. This was just something quick.